Good morning and welcome back to Dodgeball European Championships 2022. We're back here for day 2 in Draken, the Netherlands, the host country this time around. And we've got a very exciting first game on for you. We've got England women against France women. We've not seen any of these so far on court 1, but exciting dodgeball from both teams from what I've heard so far. France with a very young team this time around. 8 new players out of the team of 12. England, a combination of new players plus some experienced faces make up the mix this time around. There are some floating about. Alex did give some around. I've got one. If you go ask the other courts, I'm sure they'll have loads. Live now. Yeah, I was just chatting away. That's right, don't bother me. I'll be joined by John Rutland, former England manager, here on court 1.
Good morning.
That's John, right on cue. I've just said a bit about both teams, John. Like I said, England, we've got a couple of new faces, joined by those same familiar, experienced faces that we've seen year in, year out. France, obviously, 8 new players join the mix of 12. So plenty of new blood this time around. From what I've heard, very young talent joins the squad.
Yeah, no, there's been a lot of conversation around the new players that France have brought in. So I'm really excited today to see how they play against an English team and against that experience. So as you say, England have brought in some new players as well into the squads. Again, some experienced players at club level, but new for the European dodgeball scene. So should be a really interesting first match this morning.
I think year in, year out, it's something really that we don't really speak about every Euros, that we know England normally get to the final and they're up there with always the greats, but they've not won a Europeans now since 2014. We've obviously seen them take the World Cup back in 2018. Did they take the 2016 as well?
They didn't know. They finished third in the 2016.
It was Australia, wasn't it?
Australia in the semi-final in the last set. So no, the girls are high on confidence, as you can see there in the warm-up. They all look very relaxed, which is good to see. The French team as well are looking like they've had a good night's sleep and just going through the emotions for their warm-up. So I think we're in for a really good match this morning.
Some of the new players that do join the mix, we've got number 44, Alice Bonsigneri.
Yeah, so that's the interesting one. Alice has previously represented France, but has since moved to England to study, and now has chosen to kind of live in England. So Alice was transferred for this European Championships from France to England. So a little bit of an interesting dynamic that will be on the court this morning.
Other faces that join the mix, Brie Darcy from Derby Phantoms joins England this time around. Obviously we've got a new England manager this time around. Obviously you've now left the mix. You do represent all the home nation countries via British Dodgeball, but Jen Allen from Derby Phantoms joins as England manager this time around. So Brie Darcy joins the mix along with Imi Young, plays for Bedford Eagles. Last time around she did come out with the squad, but she was too young to play. We know what Imi is like, and if you've been around the English leagues, you know Imi provides plenty of talent on court. Whether she starts the lineup this time around is something we are yet to see so far.
I think I know Imi's got a good reputation, but she's extremely young, and so having conversations with some of the English coaches that they don't want to put too much pressure on her, as this is her first Euros. She's here to just get some experience and get some good court time, but there's no pressure for her to perform. So, yes, she's a great talent, but we'll see if she's used sparingly or just kind of eased into the game.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, you know, as young players, it's completely different environment. We play league week in, week out. You kind of know who you're up against. No one's really watching. Several games are live streamed throughout the year, but maybe don't quite pick as much viewership as you'd see over here in the European Championships. So obviously there's that pressure of people watching you. For some people, doesn't really faze them. For others, we've seen, you know, people panic on that court. The France squad completely, like I said, 8 new faces join the mix of 12. And all of these very young, 16, 17. So last time around, back in 2019, would have been very young and probably only really just starting the sport.
Yeah, no, and it's great to see that France are bringing a younger squad across. As we were saying earlier, they have got a bit of a reputation of maybe being a team that could do something different in this tournament and maybe making a few upsets, which is really good to see. And as you say, the difference might be that they might cope with the pressure, they might not. So this is probably one of the highest pressure games they're going to have in their group stage today. So hopefully they will step up and show us the talents that everyone's been talking about.
We hope you have a good sleep, you have lots of energy for today, and you have some fun. So keep on playing fair and keep on having fun. Have a good tournament today. Good luck.
So for people that were watching yesterday, there might be a few different rule changes today that you might not have seen yesterday. So if you see the coaches or the players that are in the outbox interfering with the balls, that's been given the green light overnight, and that's there to speed up the play. So that will be a new change. I think the coaches and the players were very used to not touching balls and letting the ball retrievers do the work. Another interesting change has been the pressure in the balls. They've deflated the balls a little bit, so the balls are slightly softer than yesterday, but again, shouldn't make too much of a difference. I think that was maybe to prevent a few finger injuries that happened early on in the tournament.
So live chat is now turned on, so if you do want to get any predictions. So live chat is now turned on, like I said. So any predictions? Plenty of shout outs in the comments. So the starting lineup for England: Josiah, Hems, Walker, Bonsignori. Is that? I'm going to try and start pronunciations on the right foot today. Bonsignori. We'll go with that. If all else fails, we'll go with Alice. Like I said, former French player, now plays in the women's division.
If you're unhappy with Greg's pronunciations, feel free to use the chat
No,
box.
don't. No.
Good, let's go. Let's
Yeah.
go for this first game. The French are going to look to try and come out fast. They've got some speedy players that were winning a lot of the middle ball yesterday. Let's see how they get on here.
Sam leads up head reffing on this court. He is the co-head ref of the tournament. So here we go, underway. First set of the day on court one. France do win the ball, but nothing comes from it, from that centre rush.
Really quick start there. All the players that were receiving the balls from the middle in the French team were right up on that ball return line, and then they were straight out of the block with a really quick start.
A 4-ball attack to come thrown from the left side. That's something that you'll see a lot in the English leagues as well. A lot of the European sort of tactics somewhat follow the same line. You'll get different calls obviously in their home language, but you'll see a lot of the plays fairly similar in in terms of how they'll play. France a little panic there, could have actually given away 5 balls, but do manage to hold on to one, and that's some good dodging from that.
Some really aggressive wing play there from the French team, just trying to force the English players back a little bit. The French players have got a slight smaller body build, but the power from their throws has really impressed us so far in this game. And a 2-step counter there from England, trying to hit the player high up on the court, which they were successful in.
Yeah, both teams still even, both with 5 left. A nice little running counter, but nothing comes from it. Josiah decides to throw one, and there's some good pressure. That backup is always needed. You know, they've covered Charlotte, Josiah on the back pedal. Gower hit up there, very far up that neutral zone. You see that larger neutral zone.
England really having to work hard in these early stages. The French team are definitely being a lot more aggressive than the games they faced yesterday.
And another good double hit there, taking different targets. And that's what you'll see via these sets. The French might be ready and roaring to go, but that English team will provide a lot of experience, and as the game goes on, it will get better and better.
Looked like Emily Walker there just line-faulted and took the out. But a really well-timed double running counter there from Hems and Josiah.
And that's a good hold from Hems there. The French are far back in the court, and they're always going to look for those single ball catches.
So England just managing the last few seconds in that game there. Didn't need to throw and take the set with a 2-1 left of players left on court.
This time the middle ball picked up from the England centre rush. That middle ball is contested here. The 2 on your left side will be yours, and obviously vice versa for the other side. The 2 on their left side will be theirs to freely to pick up. You'll see, like we spoke about earlier, where you've got 2 retrievers for each team, but the 2 managers in the box will be able to also retrieve balls.
Without going out of their area,
of course.
The clarification, so they can reach out, or if a ball awkwardly just sits in the outbox, they can pass it straight back onto the court. I think that's a good rule change. Been many awkward moments where the balls have been in between the out players or the coaches, and the rules were that you couldn't touch it. So just helps speed up the game and getting the balls back on the court where we need them to be. French early on using a lot of single ball attacks, just trying to keep hold of the 2 balls for their defensive counter. And again, mixing it up there, we saw a standing counter trying to hit the English player as they run up.
And that's it. 2, 3 head out there from that play. That's some great dodgeball from the England Lions women's team.
I don't think that was the call they were looking for, but they got the 3 hits, and another really good 2-ball attack there from England. Really well timed, hitting the player on their foot. And a good standing counter there as well. Just mixing it up, being really aggressive in their throwing and trying to catch the French out when they're least expected being hit. And England finish off the set really well. Right?
Yeah, when you're 1 against 5, 1 against 6, you're always going to be looking for that catch. You don't want to be wasting down the time. There's not long left in the set anyway, so you're looking for that catch to obviously bring your teammates back in, make that player swing. Obviously, when you fish a little too much, that's when you're either not taking the ball and is clipping your fingers on the outside. Alice, every time she's up, that's Abby Gower on the right side. She's pushing up that high pressure, and they're always looking to release that third ball before sort of the play continues.
The referee's called the French winger out there.
Loss of control on that one. So obviously, if the ball does leave your hands from a throw, that's where you're out.
Good cover there from the French player. There was someone just outside the central zone there that was kind of in the middle of no man's land, and they managed to just cover that to make sure the player wasn't thrown out. A little bit of chaoticness there, but that's not a problem. Both teams trying to get an advantage over each other, but with England coming out of that with now 2 players up. But a strong running counter there, getting a hit high up on the French player.
That nice cover, obviously the French there looking to get the out. They do get the out, but there's so much high press, and with that larger neutral zone, you can use so much more of your court, and you'll see that definitely from England. They're always looking to use that extra bit. And that's a good catch by Emily Walker there. Picks it up into the body. She knows where to take those catches and what ones to take.
Interesting there, the French player chose to use the whole central zone when they're the last player in. Probably making that decision to decrease the throwing distance between the throwers and the team they're throwing at. But potentially they're not giving themselves any time to be able to track back. So different ways of playing that end throw, but either way the catch was made and England took that set.
Oh, and that's a good catch from Josiah there. Obviously catch is first before the out, so the out player doesn't return. And that's that catch she'll be looking for all day, that one where she's tucking inside, heading low, and these England players, they're always looking to hit feet. So if you're agile and looking down and getting down, that's where you're going to pick up most of those catches. Another great throw there. Those 2 from the left side, perfect areas. If both of the balls are in that same area, it's a lot harder to pick one out.
Yeah, the French really going for some aggressive throws early on in this match. And are now 2 players up. Charlie Edwards with the 1 ball, or Charlie Day, shall I say.
Yeah, Josephine on that left side, you've seen her, she's taking those catches. That's the high press there, and every time her teammates are throwing the ball, she's got that high press up. You see her running as well, but no hit out. Edwards, number 14, underneath both of those ball there. It says Edwards on her. I know she's recently married to Tim Day.
Yeah.
Former Wales player.
Former
player. Yeah. And that's a good hit out. Oh, and that's some great dodgeball. Gower's hit out. Day heads up to hit that running counter, but she's also pre-thrown by the French women. That's their first 2 set points, and they'll look to take that momentum from the set into the further game.
French will be really happy with that result. There was a couple of opportunities there, and they took advantage of the English players being high up the court. Interestingly, the French players choosing to run the middle ball this time and successfully winning it.
The French off that opening rush, it's not something we really see that often. Throw in 2 from the opening rush, you then leave your opponents with 4 balls. Obviously this time around England don't make a hit from that. They'll probably be slightly disappointed. From 4 balls you're always looking to at least hit 1. Obviously these French girls very agile in their style of play, and you'll definitely see that on their track back. Plenty of movement. A good dodge there from number 18 from France, Angelina. It's that move that we often call the gazelle dodge. It's where you bring your back feet in, jump up, Josiah just with the backcourt, maybe a bit of vengeance from last set. She's taking that catch this time round.
Good hit, cross-court hit there from Josiah. Just throwing out the corner hand, making sure the French player wasn't aware that ball might have been coming, maybe facing straight on. And a good 2-ball attack there from England, having the whole ball in the middle, which is a different style to what we've seen from other nations so far.
And you see that throw, it's trying to come in low every time. It may be, you know, inches off, but that throw is so hard to pick up and try and catch.
England really effectively using their 2-ball attacks at this moment in time.
Yeah, Gower with a very high pressure that right side. She's making sure any run. And there you go, Josiah, ball just slightly missing. Gower picks up the delayed throw, takes the hit there, and it's now 6-on-1.
And then they're finishing off with a 2-ball running counter there for England. I'll be happy with that set, just getting a bit more of a grip back on the game, but a timeout has been called by the French team.
Yeah, good timeout, 8-2 down. Definitely haven't been out of this set and been very much in this game. England, like you've seen in those sets, a lot more experience and they know how to close those sets out. That's something you'll see a lot from the top tier teams out here. A lot of these other nations, they provide some experience, but in terms of offering that full 30-minute experience, the tactics behind each set will sort of differ from nation to nation. Like I said, those more experienced teams certainly knowing what to do throughout the whole game.
We saw it yesterday where the timeouts were being used really effectively by the coaches and really changing the momentum of the game. So the French will be hoping for a similar change of direction with the momentum of this game so far.
Yeah, that timeout so effective. We didn't see it on court 1, but over on court 2 yesterday, Scotland were 10-2 down against Hungary a couple times out, and a half-time swung the whole momentum. Scotland then coming back to win 14-12, 14-10 in that whole game. So that timeout can prove so effective. It's only a minute, but either these tactics are being displayed a lot clearer, or you get those subs in and they're ready for a 1-minute warm-up. No subs as of yet from the England side, and I believe none from the French side either.
And England winning the middle ball from the start. Single ball attack this time from wide right from Gower.
Yep. Obviously, Charlotte Josiah, captain in the squad this year round. She's been captain for many years, provided plenty of experience. She's been through it all in terms of where the nation has been in terms of their dodgeball in the European side of things and the world side of things.
Yep, she was in the first ever women's team for England, going back to a Five Nations tournament that took place in Belfast back in 2011. Was the first kind of European international dodgeball match, and she's been ever present, minus a year where she was pregnant. Good dynamic dodging there on the right-hand wing for England, just changing it up a little bit, keeping their dodging unpredictable. And well read there by the French player. The two-step counter from Josiah on the left, was trying to catch the French player off guard, but they were aware and got the catch.
But a good hit out, and now both teams are even. Hems doesn't quite find the toes of number 2.
Hems was aware there they could have had 3 balls, but released that single ball to leave them with 2 balls to do something with the running counter, which they haven't done. But good, smart ball management play there from England. 2 hits there for England on the French team, giving them a 2-player advantage as we head towards the final minute of this set.
Yeah, it's just finding those right times to throw your ball and when to release. Oh, and a good release there from Hems as well. Some nice high pressure. It's just forcing those French players. The slight panic maybe from the high press is making them release their balls. It makes England sit back with a 3 and they can throw when they need to.
That 2-step counter again. Previously Josiah got caught with it, but Hems again confidently used it and got the hit higher up the court in that situation. The 2-step counter is a really interesting tactic. It's kind of a hybrid of the standing counter that's done statically at the back of the court, or the full running counter, which is using the full throwing area up into the central zone. So the idea is with the 2-step counter, the players take a couple of steps and release the ball fairly quickly. So they're decreasing that distance between the player that's throwing the ball to try and hit them higher up the court. And England confidently take that 6th set, taking a 10-2 leads going into a 90-second set.
And it's that catch that we see from Alice time and time again. It's the one where is not very standstill and let the catch come into you. It's movement into it. You'll see it a lot. She heads down to her knees to try and take the catch. It's where she feels probably most secure in making that catch. Oh, and a good toe snapper there from Josiah, left side. Very, very good bit of dodgeball.
And Walker just hit out in the middle there with that 2-ball attack from the French team, who take a 1-player advantage going into the final minute of this extra set. A little bit of static dodging there from Day. Again, just got caught a little bit off guard and needs to be on her toes just a little bit more, just in case those French players are throwing sporadically.
Yeah, a 4-ball attack now. Oh, and Josiah looks to go for that catch, and that's the one that she'd normally look at picking up. Those are sort of her favourite style of catches, the one that come into her feet and she's picking those out. Like we said, those French players and those English players both looking for that feet region. They're the hardest catches to take in.
Good 2 hits there from England.
Yeah.
Now just 1 player down going into the final 15 seconds of this extra set.
A good hit out.
A standing counter hit and a catch there from the English player. Great play from Alice there, just really taking control of that game and winning that set for England.
And Alice will be very chuffed with that. A good standing counter. There are 2v5 at that point. The double running counter, 2-4. Single hit, takes the catch, and that changes the whole dynamic of the set.
What you noticed there, England didn't panic when they were 3 players down with just under a minute to go. They confidently took the balls and played some really basic dodgeball, but effectively made the hits. And yesterday we saw a few panicked plays from teams where they were rushing the last 30, 40 seconds, where they actually had time to do things effectively. So well played there from Alice to make those hits and to make sure that England secured the last points of that half.
And like you said, those dying seconds often forgot about in terms of how the game can change in those seconds. You see that there's only really 20 seconds in. Most teams would set back. You've got the 5v2 at that point. A couple of rush plays maybe from France, making them change the dynamic. England, they know that they need to settle down. They'll let the catch come in at that point. Simon Tapping in the outbox, in the coach's box, is telling the team just to slow down, especially now when you're up and you've made that catch. 4 seconds left of the set, nothing to play for. Hold the balls, nice and simple, close out the set.
French team, though, really impressive. I'm really impressed with their throwing power. The aggressive height of the throws as well. They're not trying to just hit people's toes. They're throwing in awkward places, kind of in the shins and the shoulders. And they're dodging really dynamic as well, and really aggressive high play up the court. They've come out really well this morning, so I'm sure they're going to be looking to just tweak it a little bit more tactically, just to pose England a few different questions.
The score, 12-2 at the half, definitely doesn't feel like a 12-2. In a lot of these sets, they've been very close, sort of gone down to a couple of final throws and final catches that have changed the outcome of the set. Like we said, England 12-2 up. France, in a couple of years' times, I can imagine would pose a very big threat to a lot of the higher seeded teams.
So the halftime chats being delivered by both coaches and captains of both teams. French players looking pretty confident in their huddle there, hoping they can maybe be a little bit more decisive in the closing of the sets.
A couple of changes from the French side, I believe. One in the centre, just one small substitution.
It looks like a couple of substitutions from England as well.
We see Karen Pickering join the mix of the starting six. I believe Imi Young also makes an appearance. Along with Brie Darcy here, top left of your screen, she'll be starting wing side.
Looks almost like a complete switch. Liv Morris also stepping onto the court with just Emily Walker staying on court from that first half.
Yeah, Meg White also. Despite the almost full change from the England lineup, you'll definitely expect the same amount of experience and the same amount of pressure. It's almost drilled into them at training that the style of play that the England's women deliver is always going to follow the same route.
And the French just winning the middle ball again.
So you'll see that rule there. Walker gets hit out, but as the ball is still live, it's picked up as a live catch. And you'll hear that call there. England know they have 4 balls they need to set. They'll pose a lot bigger threat heading up with 4 balls, especially when you're throwing 2. It's hard to read a 2 out of 4 ball play. Simple catch there from Pickering.
And the running counter hit there on Darcy. Just trying to track back a little bit. And the French player just made the hit on the foot.
Yeah, unfortunately, Josephine on her fall down does make a line infringement. Those orange lines that you see, treading on those will make you an out player.
England trying to collect the 4th ball there, but it just rolls over the central zone into the French hands. French looking to try and aggressively take the catch, but all the balls just missing the player.
2 separate targets there, both aiming at White and Morris. An easy dodge for these 2 players.
And Pickering again just using that swing on the angle from her left-hand side, hitting the left-hand side of the French team. And a really good tactic by England there. They're not just throwing at the player straight in front of them. they're looking at the player in front of them and then maybe then throwing out of the side of their arm.
Yeah.
Just trying to catch the French players off guard.
A nice call there. 3 from the 4 balls released. Imi Young holds up a lot of high pressure in that neutral zone. The neutral zone a lot larger in the EDBF rule set, especially what we're used to over in England.
And England finish off with a 3-ball attack there, getting a hit on the French player. England will be happy with that set win after half-time, making 5 substitutions with 5 players that haven't been playing to get the win and bring up the momentum. Was good to see. Sometimes you find when you make that many changes that the teams come out a little bit slower.
Pickering decides not to throw. Number 18 there from the French side. She heads low. That's Angelina. She's taken a couple of those catches in that downright position. This time the throw isn't thrown. Josephine also heads to the outbox from the play. It's that big high risk, high reward that you see from those players, especially when you're that high up the court. You're looking for that easy hit when you're so much closer to the team, but it also leaves you very vulnerable. And a great catch there from Imi Young. She dodges, the one pops up, she's still in the air. Why do I call her that? A miscommunication probably. It's Imi Sharp, sorry, my confusion.
Just over a minute played in this set, and England already 3 players up, leaving just 2 French players in.
A 2v5, a hard feat for any team out here, and the ball pops up. She looks to take that catch. It's that one that a lot of the French players seem to favour themselves for.
England there just using a fake, trying to force the player to move first, and then straight away then trying to hit the player after they've dodged, which they did really well. And then as you saw there, a really good group throw, hitting the French player out.
The French player's head slightly starting to drop now. Maybe a bit of a mental reset to try and take into the next set. A nice single ball jump this time. Angelina heads for the jump in the air rather than the low take the catch sort of dodge. And as she stands centre court in that neutral zone, it's an easy block for her on the 1 ball. Darcy there with the easy block. And a 3-ball attack now from France. Normally you'll see that single ball released, and it is this time around. Yet again, Darcy with that low block. She knows where that ball's coming. It's sort of, she's starting to read the French players a lot more. That Zara with the centre ball this time, but doesn't find the hit.
Again with that middle ball hold.
Yeah, Godwin with that sort of matrix style low dodge. It's easy to get under 2, but you somewhat limit yourself in terms of your next play. So a lot of teams will pick up on that, start looking at a delayed ball, because they know that when a player starts heading low and their eyes are away from the ball, it's hard to do much with it. Sometimes the French players not always on the same page. You can see there, as when you're left with that ball in the middle, it's hard to block in terms of you're either blocking yourself or you're getting in the way of other teammates. And as you can see, she dodges out the way and the player behind her is left somewhat immobile from any sort of movement.
And good cover there from Imi Sharp, just hitting the French player just after they released.
And that's a double catch, different targets, single balls. That's an easy pickup from both English players there, and that's their bread and butter. That's what you're looking for every time. A nice dodge from Zara, but I believe an infringement from her hair, I think, as she leans back.
And a good group throw there from the English team, just again making sure they got that hit.
A slight blip from the camera, but I think all electronics are safe. We're all okay.
Just showing the power there from the English team, knocking the adapter that the computer's all maybe connected to. What happened there with the French player with their hair just touching the line? The hair is part of the body, as is any of the kit. So if the players had really baggy shorts or really long hair, if that got hit by a ball or touches the line, then that is an out decision. So you'll see lots of players that maybe have longer hair, tying their hair up so it's as kind of not as big as possible.
Yeah, hard one to explain. I get that. It's sort of one of those things, and you'll see a lot of. Even the kit has changed from year to year. We used to see that baggy style of top and the baggier shorts. It kind of let your body breathe, I guess, in terms of playing a lot of dodgeball. It can be a very aggressive sport in terms of a lot of movement. A timeout called from the England setup. Currently 18-2 up.
We've definitely seen the kits getting a little bit more kind of cut in a sporting way, haven't we? With lots of teams choosing to make sure that they don't get out by some loose material. It does surprise me actually how many players maybe don't tie their hair up completely, as there is always that risk of hair getting hit and the referee calling them out.
Yep, definitely agree. It's almost one of those things, especially when the movement can be so all over the place. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's the hair gets in the face. You'll see it. I guess a lot of more experienced players tying their hair up. They know sort of these 4-day tournaments can get very tiring, and they'll tie their hair up, making sure that the hair doesn't fall in front of the face, off the court. It's all of these little things that these teams time year in, year out start looking at.
As you know, Greg, I'm a fan of the top knot myself.
You did, yeah. You supported the top knot once upon a time.
Yeah, once upon a time. It historically got pushed off after my club team won the Dodgeball Premier League, so it's not been seen since. It was the league title, so I don't know, maybe there's some correlation there. And 2 hits early on there from England. It looks like, but the referee... Oh no, they had 2 hits, 2 players have gone out off the court.
So already 35 seconds gone, 40 seconds gone now in this set. Already 2 players up, 4 balls now. So the French are going to start looking at these aggressive hits now. You've got to start taking players out early to somewhat equal the team. And they do. They take out Darcy, top left of your screen there. She heads to the outbox. And that's a 1-for-1. No. Bounces just before. Number 18, that's Angelina.
Good 2-step counter from France there, just trying to catch Meg as she was tracking back to the court. But she just managed to avoid the ball just by lifting her foot. And a good 2-ball throw there from White and Sharp.
And that's some good dodgeball from both sides. The pressure from Angelina, she knows not to throw in that position. Alice tracks back.
And a catching out there from Morris.
Yeah. Brie Darcy comes back to the field, picks up the 4th ball. It's now a 4-ball attack from the England side. A good standing counter takes out Sharp.
But England getting the hit at the same time.
Yeah.
France just got one player left in this set with just under a minute to go.
So a 3-ball attack now. You've got to start closing these sets out. She's going to go for the catch, but when 3 balls are coming your way, it's hard to pick one out, especially that perfect timing and perfect positioning from the England side.
Really smart play by the English team there, as they had just one player left on court, using all the balls to throw at the single French player to guarantee that hit. France not deciding to run for the middle ball on that occasion, meaning England start with the 3 balls in this set.
And a nice single ball from Sharp gives England that early lead, and sometimes it's that positioning, it's that mindset that you get from that.
But this time the French player making the catch low down on a single ball throw for Pickering.
Yeah, Alice Lantier does decide to throw a ball, but the hands aren't up, and that's an easy catch from Morris. Heads down to her knees. It's that catch that we're ever so used to from Morris.
Good impressive single ball throw there from Imi Sharp.
A 2-ball attack heads to Sharp, but it's an easy
dodge there from Sharp from that 2-ball attack.
Yeah.
Again, France maybe just starting to kind of tire a little bit. The throws aren't coming so much at an aggressive height now, kind of making it a little bit easier for the English players to dodge.
Yeah, Celine throws her single ball, but it's picked up by Darcy, that left side. The single ball is going to be easily catched. It's what a lot of the English ladies like to take in. It's that single ball. There you go. We talk about it time and time again. Meg White picks up the single. No movement needed this time around, John.
England in a strong position in this match now, 22-2 up as we go towards the final few minutes of this match.
And the middle ball picked up from England this time around. They lead the 3-ball attack. There's only 2 minutes left on the clock. That finishes the set and the half. And that's unlucky there. Number 5 from the French side, Malene. She's, like we said, when you're holding that ball in the middle, it's so hard for your team to move around. You're almost limited to your movement, especially from vision as well, especially when you're hid behind that player. And a bounce just before Darcy doesn't pick that catch up, but she's not out either. The ball does become dead before it reaches her. And that high press, they leave themselves high up the court. They're left around that neutral zone there. It applies a lot of pressure.
Big single ball hit there from White, from the middle French player.
Yeah, Juliette unlucky there. We've seen some good movement from her this game, but unfortunately can't dodge out the way of that single ball this time round.
A 2-ball attack. But again, that player left with the single ball, just trying to track back, but unfortunately being hit from the fast double running counter from England.
The sets have somewhat become quicker and quicker as the game leads on.
England will be pushing for the 90-second set here in this situation.
Yeah, a 4-ball attack now. And there you go. A double hit. They get that 90-second set that they wanted. It gives them the set difference that they need in the women's and mixed divisions. England probably don't need it that much, but it can close out the French team. The best third-seeded teams out of each group head to the quarter-final also. So France should be looking at these sets here. It also gives France that opportunity to claw a set back. So it'll be a 1 minute 30 set, and both teams will be looking for those extra set points. So they do get the 3 balls from the start. A 1 minute 30 set under the EDBF rule set. A single ball block from Darcy. It's that block that we've seen time and time again since she's been on the court. That low block. England start to slow down the play. They've got 4 balls now. They're 1 player up. Nothing super aggressive needed, but they do. They take the 3 balls and they get the hit that they needed. Alice Lantier, that right side player, she's been pretty much their right ball winger the whole time, but this time she can't dodge out of 3. And Lenka also heads to the outbox.
Again, that single ball hold we've seen quite a lot from England in this match. Really interesting one. Seen more in the men's side of the games, meaning that the throws are coming from a wider angle to try and catch the players they're throwing at, with a more of an unpredictable ball coming from the side of their eyesight, being really effectively used by the English team so far.
Yeah, Alice Bonsignori picks up that last ball there. Nice and clean cut. There won't be another set, because when we finish with a 1 minute 30 set, that will be the final set of the game, or the half. A good match for both. England 26-2. Some good set points for them under their belt. Very clear, concise dodgeball. They know what they need to deliver. It's going to be tougher. They know that when they get out of the groups, and so if they can deliver that in the early stages, then they definitely know what to do further on.
As you said, Greg, that will be some really good experience for the young French team, bringing lots of new players in. There's lots of positives for them to take from that. Great dodging, some really good powerful throws, especially in that first half, and they really posed England some questions, and England really had to just play really smartly. Although the score doesn't show that, England have worked really hard in that first game stage because of the way the French played. So lots of positives for them to take going into the rest of the tournament.
And so our next game on, well, thank you, John. Thank you very much for commentating on that game. I'm sure you'll be back throughout the day. I believe you are. So plenty more to hear from John Rutland himself. The next game on this court will be Austria and Ireland in the mixed division. You can head to the Dodgeball Netherlands YouTube channel to click the next game, or I believe autoplay will head you to that way anyway. Thank you very much. That's our first game of the day, England against France, finishing 26 to England, 2 to France. Thank you very much.